Welcome back to Ration Nerd, everyone. First and foremost, I want to say thank you for 500 subscribers. You guys are pretty bitchin'. It's been a lot of fun. Let's get into the review. So today we are going to get into a little bit of a vintage ration. This is one of those holy grails of rations I've always wanted to lay hands on. Unfortunately, this thing expired back in 2019. So we're kind of getting to it roughly 5 years late. These rations are not at all easy to get, so I am perfectly willing to take my chances with this ration being out of date. So we're going to break this down into 24 hours. We'll do breakfast, lunch, and dinner because, as I understand it, that's how this is packed. You can see the outlines of 3 separate boxes in here. So this is a really cool looking bag. I wish there was some way for me to magically transport the items out of it so I could keep this bag intact, but, well, that's not possible. It's a foil bag. I'm hoping that we'll have kept some of the items in this from going bad or going stale, but I won't know until I crack into this thing. This is definitely a very large ration, and this thing is weighing in at right about the 4.5 pound mark. This thing is pretty hefty. It'd be a heck of a thing to carry around in a pack with you. This is going to be quite a lot of fun. I have been waiting a long time to get my hands on one of these. So let me stop babbling and let's break into this thing. I'm going to go at it from the back because I definitely want to save this bag because I don't know if I will ever be able to get another one of these into the country past customs nasty little fingers. Hey, that was still under a bit of a vacuum seal. That's pretty nice. Hopefully that bodes well. Let me get a sniff on the inside of this bag. Well, there's a little bit of a chemical smell in there. That could be anything though. We'll just have to see. All right. So this is our breakfast box. Look at that. Right on top we have 3 toothbrushes and some toothpaste. That is awesome. We have 50 grams of biscuits. These are sealed in a Mylar package. I imagine it could be possible these are still relatively fresh. 50 grams of biscuits. So we have some kind of accessory kit. We'll crack into that in a moment. And another one, which just has a spoon and a napkin in there. Looks like we have some jelly candies. These are they actually still have some give to them, so they're not super stale. That's awesome. I don't even want to wait. I'm starving. Like, I want to just crack right into these jelly candies and get at it. Oh, we have another one. These have some give to them as well. Maybe this thing isn't as stale as it should be, given its age, but we're going to find out. Instant coffee. I am really dying to find out what the Italian coffee tastes like. I am super excited about that. And we have a pack of salt. We have some sugar to go with that coffee. And we have 6 fuel tablets. We have a rockin' little Esbit stove. That's pretty awesome. This looks like sweetened condensed milk. I really hope, really hope this is still good. I mean, it's kind of a crazy looking package, like this square graph paper kind of thing. Makes it look more like a tube of toothpaste. That'll be great in the coffee, on the biscuits, just chugging it straight out of the tube. And we have a chocolate bar. That's kind of cool. A little chocolate for breakfast. We have a pack of matches. Small red tips. Check one of those out just for fun. Not the greatest striker on the side of that thing, I'll say that for sure. I mean, I don't think any moisture got to this thing. Let's just quit while we're ahead with that. So we have a pack of matches. We have a toothpick. We have 3 toothpicks, and then we have 6 water purification tablets. Water purification is always a good idea in any ration, and they're certainly not lacking on that. Breakfast is looking like a little bit of a minimalist affair in this ration, but I'm going to go ahead and get it out onto a tray. I will be right back. So in my excitement in getting into this ration, I'm really excited about this thing. This really is like one of the holy grail rations for me. I've been waiting to get my hands on one of these for a very long time. I forgot to open up these packages and find out what the heck is in here. So we're going to get to that right now. We have some bags. Okay, so it looks like we have 3 of these waste bags. And these are paper bags. Definitely have some kind of laminated coating on the outside. I guess these could be used for waste. I mean, maybe this would be like a dookie bag. I don't know, like 3 dookie bags for the day. I don't know. It's probably just for general trash, but it's funnier to say it's a dookie bag. So I'm saying it's a dookie bag, so you get 3 dookie bags. And you have your spoon and napkin. And wow, that napkin is... is that a napkin? That's like a piece of plastic. That's more like a... it's more like a bib than a napkin. That is probably the worst napkin I've ever seen in any ration. It is literally shiny and is probably completely not absorbent. I don't know exactly how that's supposed to work. But given that this is a bag, this is certainly supposed to be a napkin. I'm pretty sure these napkins didn't degrade like this. This is almost like a plastic coated tissue paper. So I'm pretty sure that's not wiping your butt. That's not really wiping your face. It'll probably just kind of smear things around. You know, with as much cool stuff as in here, it's kind of a weird item, like a weird napkin in a really cool ration. And so we have 2 of these things that really aren't napkins, but we'll just call them that. We're going to put those over there. And then you have a pretty bad spoon. Like this thing is, yeah, it's pretty junky. It reminds me of a Russian spoon. So that's kind of depressing. But you know what's not depressing? Coffee time. Coffee time is absolutely not depressing. Coffee time is the best time. Just does not want to fall down into that packet. I really don't want to waste a single granule of this coffee. Come on, buddy. Well, it is a fine powder, but I did just beat the snot out of it, so you never know. Take a look at that wholesome goodness right there. Or at least, well, I hope it's wholesome goodness. It smells pretty robust. I hope it's as robust as it smells. We're just going to go ahead and throw this 6 grams of sugar right in there. The top of that sugar looks like it may have come into contact with some moisture. That is not cool. We're going to roll with it anyway. Get that coffee rolling. Ooh, that looks pretty robust. That is coffee. Let's get this really chintzy spoon into action here. So before I open up the sweetened condensed and cream this coffee, I am going to just give this a taste as is. That is a nice cup of coffee. It's actually not as strong as it appears, but it has a really nice flavor. Very smooth, low in acidity. That's a really good cup of coffee. Like, yes. You know, it's funny, the graph lines on this box are really messing with me. This really, if it weren't for that cup of milk on there, this totally reminds me of like a toothpaste box. It would be completely awesome if this has survived. If it hasn't, it's going to kind of shoot this whole ration in the foot just a little bit, not being able to put any cream in the coffee, but here's hoping. We're going to get this sweet and condensed open. Love, oh, it did kind of puke at me a little bit. Oh boy. Let's give it a little sniff check. Not smelling anything strange. Okay, well, it's gotten a little darker with time. There's nothing wrong with that. Still smells pretty decent. I'm going to give that a taste. Yes, that is some excellent sweetened condensed milk. This is a 100 gram tube of sweetened condensed milk. It's not a matter of what can you do with 100 grams of sweetened condensed. It's more of a matter of what can you not do with it. Like, you can do a whole lot of stuff with 100 grams of sweetened condensed. That's amazing. So, 4+ years out of date, almost 5 years. The sweetened condensed is doing just fine. That is excellent news for me and this ration and this review. Apparently I can't put a cap on straight. To get that mixed up in the coffee, that is going to be nice. Look at that. That makes a really sexy cup of coffee, I'm telling you. You can tell it's morning and I haven't had my first cup of coffee yet because I've spent a considerable amount of time on this cup of coffee. I don't normally eat breakfast, so for me, coffee is breakfast and usually lunch too. So this is absolutely amazing. That is so good with that sweet and condensed in there. That's an amazing sweet and creamy cup of really tasty coffee. I wish there was Taste Division on YouTube. I would let you guys have a little taste of that. Sip, sip. That one was for you. This one's for me. Oh, that is good. That is really good. So let's check out these biscuits. The cool thing about having biscuits in here is generally they're still edible, usually. They just get stale. This packaging, though, may have kept them from getting stale. I really hope that's the case. Let's give them a little sniff. They smell sweet and like vanilla. So we're just gonna dump them out. Yes, these are very, very light and airy. But they do have a very vanilla smell to them. I'm hoping that's not a stale smell that I'm mistaking for vanilla, but it certainly smells like vanilla. Pop a couple of these together so you can get a cross section on those biscuits. Get a taste of one of these by itself. Those have a very light vanilla flavor. They're just ever so slightly a tiny little hint of sweetness. This stuff is going to come in super handy with these biscuits. To be fair, I kind of like this breakfast. I'm not a big breakfast eater, and if you are like a big breakfast kind of person, this probably wouldn't be the best ration for you because breakfast is certainly not large and in charge. But so far, the coffee's been amazing. Check out this chocolate bar. And you just fumble the shit out of everything and just make a mess, because that's what I do. I fumble stuff. I make messes. I don't know what else to do. This is just me. I'm going to save the rest of this sweetened condensed milk for the other meals of the day, because this is going to come in really handy. That's amazing. I wish I know it's crazy. I have 100 grams of sweetened condensed sitting there. But with all these biscuits, I really wish I had some more, because I could probably eat an entire tube of sweetened condensed with these morning biscuits. I know that sounds horrible, but I really like sweetened condensed milk. What can I say? That bit of sweetened condensed milk certainly has 2 different colors in it, though. That's a little disturbing. There'll be an after-action report if anything happens to me, but right now everything tastes fine. I don't see that happening. That light vanilla flavor in these biscuits is just magnified by this sweetened condensed milk. It doesn't even take much to magnify that flavor. This is a really great combination. Very light and sweet. With more condensed milk on it, it wouldn't be as dry, but as they are right now with me just putting a little bit of sweetened condensed on there, they tend to be a little dry on the follow-up. So certainly need something to wash it down with. That's the one thing this ration doesn't have is a cold drink, at least not so far. This is a really fantastic combination, though. These light, airy biscuits with that sweet and condensed, it's just really good. It's like having dessert for breakfast. Tell you what, for something that's almost 5 years out of date, that's pretty magnificent. This light, crispy biscuit with the vanilla flavor that's baked in and this sweet and condensed is really satisfying. Very crunchy, very sweet, just not a super complex flavor. Now I'm trying to get foodie on you, so I don't know how good this is going to go. Bear with me for a second. So this isn't a very complex flavor, but it's very rich and it's a very deep flavor. Like it sticks around in your mouth, which is a good thing because it has a really good flavor to it. But it's a very deep, rich, mildly sweet flavor of vanilla and obviously milk. And they just really pair well together. And it's just such an amazing taste. Like the taste on the front end when you're chewing everything, and then the aftertaste that everything leaves in your mouth is just amazing. Like I almost don't want to wash it down with the coffee. I know that's sacrilege, but this is such an interesting flavor that I may never get to experience again. I almost just want to have them separately. Although you do need a little bit of something to wet the whistle after you're chewing up these biscuits because they do tend to get a little dry. But the taste of these is absolutely amazing. And then we have this 25-gram chocolate bar. See how that held up. Well, it's definitely bloomed quite a bit, but that is okay by me. Looks like it was a dark chocolate, so no problem. That looks very nice. I'm going to get a bite of that. I'm going to tell you what. Chocolate is a very weird animal in the sense that you can have a piece of chocolate that's extremely old. And, I mean, it has a fat content, and that blooming is the fat rising to the surface of the chocolate. And oxidation, of course. Dark chocolate doesn't suffer from it nearly as much as milk chocolate. But chocolate is the craziest animal. Like, it can be completely out of date and bad and still be good and not make you sick. I mean, I'm sure it's not a forever food. I don't remember what the oldest piece of chocolate I've ever eaten is, but this one is certainly well out of date and it's still good. I'm sure it would have tasted slightly better when it was fresh, but this is still an amazingly rich and complex piece of dark chocolate, even barring that little, this fat separation on top here does taste a little odd, but it goes away just like that. And as soon as you get past it, which is almost instantaneous, like you taste a little bit of this oxidation, this fat separation right on the front side. And then as soon as you start to eat it, this very rich, very excellent dark chocolate flavor just kind of explodes. This is definitely going to be the thing to do. Put some of these dry ass biscuits with some chocolate and give that a try. I'm sure it's going to be excellent. All right, I know I said I was going to save the sweetened condensed, and I am. However, as good as this chocolate is, and as good as combining it together with the biscuits, I really think it needs... I really think it needs somebody that can use their hands and not just like bumble tart everything. But aside from that, the ration doesn't have a choice. I'm all it has at this point. So it completely non-absorbent napkin. What am I going to do with that? That is some finely aged sweetened condensed milk. I know that's not a thing, but it sure ought to be. So anyway, we are going to combine a piece of this chocolate with some biscuits with a little bit of sweet and condensed in there. This, I am absolutely positive, is going to be an excellent bite. Okay, I take that back. I really thought that adding the sweet and condensed with the biscuits and chocolate would be an amazing combination. Somehow or the other, the sweet and condensed milk made that oxidized fat separation on the exterior of that chocolate just like really have a pronounced flavor. So it was a pretty horrible bite until the sweet and condensed milk went away. Then the chocolate flavor came back. That was pretty bad. Would not recommend. Maybe if this chocolate was fresh, it wouldn't be an issue. But with it being oxidized like this, it certainly is an issue. So I would not do that. We're going to grab one of these cherry gel candies and give that a try. They still have a little squishy to them. Those have a really natural cherry taste to them. But wow, that was an excellent cherry flavor. That was awesome. Still very soft and gummy. You wouldn't even know that these were expired. These are great. I'm going to save some of these for the other meals throughout the day. And then we have the orange candy. Squishy. That definitely has some just straight orange oil in there. Like the oil you get from the peel. Like when you peel an orange and you get that orange flavor and smell trapped in your fingers, that is very reminiscent of that. That is absolutely excellent. We're definitely going to save both of those candies to have a sweet little snack with lunch and dinner. Well, guys, I'm going to wrap up the rest of these biscuits and a hunk of that chocolate. I'll see you at lunchtime. All right, everybody, we are back with some lunch. Let's see what lunch has to offer. So looks like we have a more complex utensil set. Since I forgot to open it up last time, we're just going to get right on that before I forget myself. Now that I've had some coffee and some biscuits, I'm feeling a little bit better. So the quality of this silverware is really reminiscent of what you get in a Russian ration, like a Russian 24-hour. It's kind of crappy, to be fair. But we have a fork, knife, and spoon in here, all of very dubious quality. And we have some more of those plasticky, non-absorbent napkins, which I'm a little disappointed about those napkins. All right, and we have a can of beef tortellini. This looks still intact. No bulging, no badness. That's most excellent. We have some more crackers or biscuits, however you like to say that. We have another pack of biscuits. It does not appear that these are different. We'll get into these in a second, but you get 100 grams of biscuits. We have some beef in jelly. That's got a little stickiness on it, although nothing feels weird, which is good. Then we have a can of fruit salad. Who doesn't like a little can of fruit salad? We have some candies left over for breakfast. We have some bran tablets and some vitamin tablets. That ought to be pretty interesting. And we've got our coffee and sugar, which I think that'll be the first thing we make up here. The only thing I'm not liking about this is that there's no cold drink involved. That coffee smells good. Somebody had commented on one of my videos when I said there's no cold drink in whatever ration. They said, well, water would be your drink. Well, if you are expecting soldiers to fight and die for their country, can you give them a flavored drink for the love of God? Like, is that really too much to ask? I'm not picking on this ration specifically, but there hasn't been a cold drink so far. I've really enjoyed it thus far. It's been really cool. We'll see what these items have to offer, but give a guy a cold drink. I mean, come on. I mean, even a crappy cold drink would be better than no cold drink. We've got to hit it up with a bit of this sweetened condensed milk. All right, well, let's get the main heating up. I mean, that sweetened condensed tastes great. I don't know why there's chunkies in my coffee, but that sweetened condensed tastes amazing. It does not taste bad in any way, shape, or form. So we definitely need a rock or something for this Esbit stove. This is a really nice little Esbit stove. This is awesome. I'm not going to cook this inside of the can. I mean, it could very well be easier to do it inside of the can. But that's what kind of worries me about that. I think it'd be safer, smarter just to do it right inside of my mess cup. So that's the way we're going to do it. I am sure these are going to stank like fish. Let's check it out. Oh yeah. Yeah, these definitely smell like smells like a fish market on a hot day with no air conditioning. That's just disgusting. That's okay though, because we're not eating them. We're just cooking with them. I really would like to know why these things smell like fish so bad. And then I don't want to know all at the same time. There are some things that, you can just let be a little mystery in life and just not care. Like, why do these fuel tablets smell like fish? Who gives a shit? So that is a 400 gram main. That's good stuff. That's pretty saucy. I was expecting it to be like kind of thick and congealed. Certainly smells very normal. That's always positive when it doesn't smell like dumpster juice or anything like that. I've had a fair few of my dumpster juice meals, as one of my astute colleagues, Germs, pointed out, that I have really bad luck, and he's not wrong. I've had some pretty crappy luck when it comes to getting some expired and or spoiled rations. Part of the problem is that you have these things shipped to you, and everybody kicks them around like a football. Nobody cares about your packages anymore, so they get beat to death on the way here. So I'm not saying that every ration that I get that has a bad item is because that particular nation made their rations horribly. I mean, China probably does, but, you know, that is what it is. I'm still might be a little salty about the nasty food poisoning I had to deal with from that. However, sometimes it's just the fact that the ration has been beat to death, and that just happens, but I think they have to kind of prepare for that. I'm pretty sure military guys, when they're carrying cases of rations around, are not carrying them like they're carrying a box of grenades. They're probably just hucking them around everywhere like they, give no shits. So they have to plan on their rations being a little rough handled. So, stuff happens in transit, guys. So I'm fully aware. I am fully aware that these matches suck, is what I'm fully aware of. Oh. That was just uncool. Catching other stuff on fire. I'm trying to use 2 matches because I figured if I could get 1 to light, I could definitely get 2. Wow, okay. So that's 2 crappy matches in a row. Maybe it's not the match so much as it is the striker. I don't know, these matches suck. Maybe I can try to find a striker from another pack of matches, because I've always got a lot of matches from different rations sitting around here. Yep, that was just the striker, so we're just going to go ahead and make our little... So we're going to let that get heating up. We're going to get everything else out on the tray. Let's check out these biscuits. These looks like they are the exact same biscuits from breakfast. No, they're not exactly the same. Same texture, same weight. What they do not have, they don't have any of that vanilla aftertaste. So these are definitely different biscuits. There's 416 calories in these packs of crackers. That's quite a bit of calories. I'm going to open up this other pack of crackers just to see if there's any difference. These are definitely exactly the same. While we're waiting on the main heat up, we'll get this fruit salad out onto the tray. This is probably going to... this is absolutely going to make a huge, heinous mess of the tray, but it is what it is. We'll just have to... We'll do 2 compartments for that one. That's not too bad. Get that out of there. Alright. That's looking good. This napkin's looking horrible, though. What am I going to do with that? Absolutely... We're going to do absolutely nothing with it, I feel like. I gotta say, I am a little bummed by this ration. There's just not a lot of components to it, which is okay, but this is one of those holy grail rations that I was really looking forward to. There's just not a lot of components, so it's not extremely interesting. And then we have this beef and jelly. I'm half tempted to heat it up, but I think it'll be more fun just to have it all gelatinous and weird. Kind of used up my beef portion of the tray over there, so we're just gonna have to make it happen. Oh wow. Okay. Have a look at that guy. Ding 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 ding. That's weird. Okay. It is absolutely beef and jelly. They weren't lying. Oh, that's definitely weird. Very weird. I don't know. Maybe heating this up might be the way to go. Maybe that Esbit stove is gonna have job number 2. I don't know. Let's just take a look at that. That is, I don't really know if it's attractive or not. A part of me says it kind of is, and the other part of me is like, hell no. We're just going to get a bite. We're going to see how it goes. We're going to get some of this gelatinous goop. Let's go for it. You know what? Okay. The gel is a little weird. It's very tasty, but it's a little weird. It's more than just the fat you would normally get with a canned meat from some other countries. It'll probably go way better on these biscuits and help these biscuits not be so dry. I'm gonna give that a try real quick while I stir that before it burns. Oh, that's the thing right there. That is why you get 2 packs of these crackers. Probably 1 pack to go with the main, and then the other pack to eat that. I'll tell you what, on its own, the gel in that beef is kind of weird. Not bad at all, just strange. But when you put it on those biscuits, that's absolutely great. That is heating up nice. I'll tell you what, I'm a little excited about this beef gel here. I'm about to eat some of those words. They give a little bit of variety. I guess I'm just used to having a more of a variety in a 24-hour ration. This is just kind of keeping it simple. That's not the worst thing ever. Oh, there went the spoon. I just heard it crack. I mean, yes, I will absolutely admit this looks like dog food, but it does not in any way, shape, or form. I'll tell you what, I'm getting rid of this spoon. We're going to bring in this big, thick, and chunky Australian spoon, because I keep them all. This needs to get out onto the tray before it burns any more than it may already have. It's a pretty decent portion. A lot of sauce. We did get some burn on the bottom, but that's just par for the course when you're using a Nesbitt stove. It would have been probably 5 times worse if I'd have did that in the can. Tell you what though, it doesn't look too bad. Maybe I was a little gorilla fisted when I mixed it. I mean, it's like all the tortellinis just kind of fell apart. That's nice and hot. Let's give that a second to cool off. So let's get a taste of this while it's nice and hot. Take a peek at that as it scalds the palm of my hand. Very nice. That's not bad. It's not great by any stretch of the imagination, which, you know, being from Italy, I would have expected it to be just much more of a flavor explosion. That's probably my American bias of what Italian food is here in the US. Maybe if you were Italian, you would think this was great. It's just kind of mediocre. I'm a little sad about it. We'll try to hit it with a little salt, see if that helps. It's definitely pretty mediocre. Not very interesting at all. Save some of that salt for later. As if our second dish is kind of mediocre, we're going to need some of that. Let's try that after having added some salt. Give it a little mix. It's slightly better after having added the salt, but not great. Nothing to write home about. Kind of a bummer. The beef in gel is way better than this Italian dish, by far. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some beef right in there, make this main a whole lot more interesting, just because it's really not all that interesting at all. So we're just going to add some beef in gel in there. Why not? We can. They give you a good bit of this beef gel as well. This is 140 grams. That's a pretty decent amount. So I'm just going to toss it in there for some flavor because this pasta really definitely needs it. The beef is absolutely the rock star of the lunch menu. That pasta is it's just not very complex in flavor. It just has a mild tomato sauce flavor. There's almost no beef to speak of in these tortellinis, so it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It's certainly not very appetizing. It's just okay. I mean, literally, that's exactly how I feel about it. It's just okay. It's very mediocre. It's hot and it's there. I can't imagine a soldier would feel much differently about it unless you were extraordinarily hungry. And that takes on a much different life with that beef in there. Definitely way better. Kind of a shame you had to mix the two just to make this an enjoyable main. There's nothing wrong with it other than it's just extraordinarily plain. And that kind of sucks. I could take it back over to this crazy dog food and crackers for like most of the lunch and be completely happy with it. Did I give you guys a close-up of this dog food? Because if I didn't, check it out. I tell you what, looks like dog food, tastes pretty amazing. See if we get one of these larger crackers. I'm gonna get some of this main on a cracker because I'm looking for any reason why I actually want to continue to eat this. And that's definitely pretty decent. I don't know. It's just not all that great. It's a real shame. I was really looking forward to this ration. It's kind of a bummer that it's a bummer. So we're gonna see if we can't get some fruit salad cobbler going on. This definitely would have been better with the sweet biscuits from breakfast, but I have a feeling that syrup will hook them right up. Let's see if we can't drown these biscuits here a little bit while we're working on this main. Eating the main with the biscuits is really the way to go. It's the only way that the entirety of the thing is even interesting. That canned beef and Jell-O, that stuff is really, really amazing. I don't know, maybe I was a dog in a former life, if you believe in that kind of stuff. I'm just like, oh, dog food, it's great. Eating the main like this with the biscuits, where you're just kind of scooping everything up after having added some of the beef to it, is really the only way this is interesting and is worth eating. Otherwise, it's extremely plain. At least the biscuits are here to kind of save the day. Some people say that I'm too hard on rations, that I expect too much out of them. You know, if you're going to carry a gun into combat, or at least swear to carry a gun into combat, like I said, I feel like the country that is asking you to do that at least should feed you really well. And this really finely minced beef, this just has a really nice texture, a really good flavor when it's on a biscuit, mind you. This stuff is actually pretty awesome and messy. I mean, I'm definitely kind of bummed about this. It's just nowhere near as great as the hype that I gave it. Nobody else led me to believe this. Like, I've watched Italian ration reviews in the past, and I guess the wine tastes better in the memory. Like, I really thought this was going to be an amazing experience. Don't get me wrong, opening one of these up and being able to try everything out is an amazing experience. I just really expected the food to be better. That's one of the things I do in my reviews, is tell the truth about everything. I don't candy coat it. I don't try to make everything seem better than it is, because some stuff just isn't great in rations. And I'd rather tell you the truth than just blow smoke up your ass and tell you everything is wonderful when it's not. Because then if you waste your money on it, you're going to be like, oh, Ration Nerd, you told me this was amazing. And when I got it, it really sucked. And then I would look like a fool. Now, granted, I mean, some of the stuff I do is pretty foolish. One thing I don't do is lie to you guys about what I'm eating. And although I'm still enjoying this just for the simple fact that I'm eating an Italian ration that I've always wanted to have, just not loving it all that much. I definitely hope dinner is more interesting. Be kind of bummed if dinner's like this again, but alright. Well, I guess we've given these biscuits long enough to drown in some of this sauce. Let's give this fruit salad a little try. And it's pretty basic. It's just fruit salad. I will say that is very good fruit salad. Nothing crazy about it, but it is certainly on the higher end of the spectrum as far as fruit salad goes. It's pretty good. Absolutely not a bad ration item. And these little pieces of biscuit soaked in here does give it a little bit of a cobbler flavor. Certainly not as sweet as a cobbler, but it certainly gives it kind of a cobbler flavor profile. It works out pretty well. Tell you what we could try to do. Could drizzle a little bit of that sweetened condensed milk on that fruit salad. See how that tastes. I'm sure it's going to taste pretty amazing because, well, sweetened condensed is freaking awesome. Let's give that a try. It looks like somebody was having a lot of fun with my fruit salad. That's kind of nasty. Oh, that is great. That just gives it like a sweet, creamy, milky flavor along with the fruit salad. That's absolutely awesome. It was like a dessert. Like, I planned it. Like, that's definitely an excellent match. That's why I love having sweet and condensed in a ration. There's just so much you can do with it. And before we forget about it, let's check out one of these brand tablets. And, oh, I wonder I wonder, am I getting ready to do the effervescent drink tablet in my mouth again? Nope, unfortunately, that's just a vitamin. Yeah, 2018 vitamins. I'm in. Oh, the aftertaste of those vitamins. Remember those Flintstone vitamins when you were a kid? Like if you got remember they were really good on the front end and they tasted like butt on the back end? That is like, these are like the adult version of a Flintstones vitamin. Like you get a kind of okay fruity taste on the front end and like a really adult sized, or you get an adult version of the ass flavor on the back end. They're not great. Yeah. So let me have this brand tablet. That's horrible. There really should be a way, like some Star Trek stuff, where I could literally just like hand one of these through the screen to you guys, because I would absolutely love for you to be able to get the chalky, pasty, stale cream of wheat and chalk flavor. I'm you know what? It was funny enough. It's nasty, but it was funny enough. I'm going to do it again. We're going to do it together, and we're going to talk about it. Let's get a couple of them so I can get as much flavor profile in these crazy little things as I can. Oh my god. Okay. So I know you could probably swallow these as pills, and I highly suggest that. These things are very soft. Oh god. And as soon as they hit your mouth, they instantaneously just start to melt. So if you're going to try to take this as a pill, you had better be really fast about it. It'd be a lot easier for you to just chew them. So that's kind of like taking stale cream of wheat, chalk, and like wet books, like the smell of wet books. So you combine stale cream of wheat, chalk, and wet books together, and that's kind of like the that's kind of the flavor you get rolling around in your mouth when you eat those things. We're gonna leave them out on the table. I think I've done enough taste testing of these guys. These are not going to make you want to consume them at all, because they're just not very appetizing. So wow, great stuff. All right guys, I'm kind of done with lunch. I'm not going to overdo it on something that I'm not really crazy about. That was kind of a bummer. As you can see, I really did like the fruit salad. Beef was great. Might have a couple more bites of that. Otherwise, I'll see you in 3 or 4 hours or so for dinner. Okay, everybody, we are back. So let's see what we have here for dinner. We have more of this really bad silverware and really bad napkins. I don't think I'm going to bother with those because they're really not doing a whole lot for me. We have some more coffee, which is always good, and a pack of sugar. We have a can of tuna. Love me some tuna. We have a can of minestrone soup. You know, I'm not normally a soup fan, but minestrone is pretty good. I'm looking forward to giving that a shot. Oh, we're just destroying everything. We have a pack of biscuits that look a little worse for wear. I'm sure they didn't survive intact, but we have biscuits. We have 2 fruit bars, and we'll have to figure out the flavor of those when we get into them. They look pretty good. 2 of them is pretty crazy. 2 43-gram fruit bars for dinner. And that's it. Empty box. So first things first, let's get this minestrone cooking away here. Yes, lunch did burn, and I scoured that like crazy, and well, it's just not coming out of there. So looks like we're having a little bit of lunch with dinner. And that's just the way it is, because I'm a guy, I don't care. Yeah, go my God. with the dirty in the cup, and then he said he was a guy. Oh gosh, shut up. Well, that's looking pretty healthy. Not cooperating. That smells pretty good. It smells like a standard minestrone. That's all right. Like I said, I'm normally not a big soup guy. Soup is not a go-to for me, even when I'm not feeling well. I'm just not a soup guy, but that smells pretty awesome. So maybe I'm going to be more of a soup guy today than normal. That smells pretty good. I'm going to move that out of the way so I don't accidentally get any dead fish tablets in the soup. Let's kind of make a little dead fish sauce pile here. So we'll use the Italian matches, but we can't use the striker because the striker on the side of that thing just sucks. So we're going to build like a little campfire action over here. Set the ration table on fire. That's always good. All right, let's heat up some soup. Fortunately, that won't need to be stirred too much. Let's get this tuna. Oh. Let's make up this coffee. As you can tell, I'm much more excited about the coffee than I am the tuna. Although, thinking about this ration over the course of the day, you know, this has been a pretty substantial, decent ration. A few things is the way it was boxed kept the canned items in great shape, which is awesome. But the lack of variety of items kind of bugs me. Like, there was a lot of space, a lot of weight in this ration. They could have added a few more things in here just to give you more options. As well as the lack of a cold drink. Like, that just kind of bugs me about this thing. Like, why can't we get a cold drink going on? Alright, we got some coffee going. Now, I don't know what was going on with the sweetened condensed last time that it got chunky in my coffee. I'm not loving that, but we're doing it again. I don't know if just the age of the milk just made the milk turn in the coffee. The coffee I made at breakfast did not have that issue. I actually didn't finish the lunch coffee completely because it just had a little bit of a strange, odd flavor to it. I don't know. Well, it was definitely the milk because the condensed milk was chunky at the bottom. So that's just really odd. I'm not getting the same floaty chunkies I did at lunchtime. That's really odd. Like, it's inexplicable, like why I had chunkies in the bottom of my coffee at lunchtime and now I don't. Makes no sense to me. Let's check that coffee out. See, that's good like the breakfast coffee. Maybe it was the actual coffee. I don't know that that's even really a thing. Somehow or the other, lunch coffee had chunky floaties in the bottom. It was definitely the milk. Breakfast and dinner coffee is perfect. I'm not really sure what the missing variable is there. It doesn't sound correct to me, but it's what happened. So, and you guys were here for it. You saw the chunkies, or at least I hope you did. One of these days, I will get a second camera up and operational, but, you know, a little while back when I had problems with my video, and I was able to put out a crappy video of that Canadian ration because I was trying the 2-camera thing. And if you haven't figured it out by now, I'm not exactly the most technical savvy person on the planet. So, 1 camera is hard enough for me, let alone 2. So I'm just going to have to back off of that project for a little while until I can figure it out. Call me dumb if you want. I'm just not like super electronic savvy guy, so it is what it is. I'm going to rearrange things here for a second. Let's put that nasty over there. I mean, all right, I don't know if it's nasty yet, but it's seafood, and I'm just not a big seafood fan, so. Tell you what, the placement of these crackers, definitely in that box, that dinner box, the placement of the crackers was horrible. It really just made sure that these were going to get beat up. Like, there was no chance of them surviving intact. That's kind of a bummer, but it is what it is. Get some more of that coffee. Maybe we should start things off with one of those. No, we shouldn't. We should not start things off with one of those brand tablets. All right. Let's get this nasty out onto the tray. Well, it looks like it's in oil, so that's a good thing. Usually tuna tastes way better in oil than it does in water. So that's a positive. Not a bad quality looking tuna. At least there's a big hunk of tuna over here. It's not looking too bad. It's not smelling super fishy either. Alright, while that soup is doing its thing, let's give some of this tuna a try. It's got a nice black hunk of just strangeness in there. I'm going to go ahead and load that oil up on there because that usually just helps the flavor and Helps the tuna from being too dry to go down. A little look at that guy. I am absolutely 100% convinced that packing tuna in oil is the only way to go. It really cuts down on the fishy flavor of the tuna and takes that dry mouthfeel out of the tuna, which is great. Makes it go down way easier and just has a much better flavor when it's packed in oil. I could eat that on a regular basis. Even not being a seafood guy, that tuna is completely edible and enjoyable. So let's get these. We're just going to get one of these out onto the tray. That's interesting. Definitely need to get a sniff check on that. It does smell a little stale. We're still going to give it a day in court. Not a bad looking bar. Little cross section. That soup is boiling away, doing its thing. I think that's probably hot enough. I'm already going to scald my face on it as soon as I try to eat some of this soup. It does look pretty healthy though. I was a little bummed when I found out it was going to be soup for dinner, but this isn't bad. Ow. This is probably going to overflow on the tray. I don't know if we're getting it all in here. Might just have to leave some in the mess cup. Yeah, because otherwise I'm just going to make a huge mess. Tell you what, we'll transport the rest of it over here. Now, I would certainly have eaten that out of the mess cup, but being that I want you to be able to see the consistency of everything, getting that onto the tray here is the way to go. That smells really good. Like, that has a really pleasant smell coming off of it. Like I said, not a big soup fan, but this smells pretty amazing. I'm going to do my best to hold this up so you can see it without burning my hand off. Ow. All right. Let's get a taste of that. Hopefully without burning my tongue off. Whew. That was hot. Very good, though. Definitely going to need that salt. That's okay, though, because they did give you some salt. Would have been nice if they would have given you some pepper. Pepper would have been great here, too. But we got salt, so that's what we're going to use. I'm going to tell you what. Adding that salt in there definitely brought the flavor up a bit. It could really use some more salt and pepper. But this is a really quality soup. I mean, as you can see, we have carrots, potatoes, some beans, peas, tomatoes. This is really good. Like I said, I'm not a soup guy, but this is a really good, really excellent soup, actually. I would prefer there be some meat in here. This is more of a vegetable minestrone, and that's okay. I mean, where's the beef? But this is actually a pretty decent soup. It was definitely a very easy ration item to get hot over an Nesbitt stove. This would be great for a cold weather meal. Definitely going to have to get a couple of cracker hunks swimming in there. You know, now that I have, I mean, the only thing I haven't tried is the fruit bar. We'll get to that in a minute. But I'm pretty amazed. This thing is almost 5 years out of date, and everything in this ration has been completely edible. The only one thing I've had an issue with was my lunchtime coffee, which is really odd. Let's try one of these biscuits soaked up in that soup. That's really good. If you like crackers in your soup, this is pretty amazing. These crackers go really well in this soup, especially when there's a little bit of mushy and a little bit of crunchy in there. That's amazing. I don't know. I was a little disappointed with lunch, but dinner is definitely winning me back over in this ration. A lot of things I really like about this ration and some things I was just kind of about. But overall, I'm really glad I got this. One of the rations I've always wanted to review. It's just a lot of fun. It's a really cool ration. I love the packaging and all that. And this is just like one of those OG old school rations I really just had to get my hands on. I have another one I'm working on too that's a different menu. That's a little bit less expired than this one. But honestly, I'm not worried at all. Like, this thing is almost 5 years out of date. Everything's edible. So these napkins though, like, I don't know whose brilliant idea these things are. These are some horrible napkins. Like, for not being a soup guy, I'm kind of messing up this soup. That really is good. And I really am messy. Like, I'm not this messy at the dinner table, thank God. Because I don't think Mrs. Ration Nerd would like me very much if I was this messy at the dinner table all the time. But for some reason, at the ration table, one, I'm a bumbletard and I drop stuff all the time. And two, I'm just really messy here at the ration table. Like, yes, I'm kind of messy in real life. You know, like I'll get something on my shirt from time to time, or stuck in my goatee or whatever. But when I'm at the ration table, I'm just like super messy, and it just doesn't, it's like there's some part of my brain that, like, when I'm sitting here doing this with you guys, I just make a mess, like a crazy mess. I don't quite comprehend it. But now that we've eaten some of that soup, we can bring some of these beans and veggies over into the equation. That's good stuff. This really could use a little bit more salt and pepper, and it would really be absolutely amazing. Of course, I have tons of salt and pepper around here from other rations, but I just won't do it. I won't bring it in just because it didn't come with the ration, just to try to keep it original to everything that's here. With a little bit more salt and some pepper, this soup would pretty much be off the hook. And for a guy that doesn't like soup to say that, that's pretty good soup. All right, why not? We'll just try it. We'll get a little tuna, oil and everything. We'll chuck some tuna in here. Get a big old tuna bite of soup. I might be pleasantly surprised. This might be a really good bite. Especially now that the temperature's cooled down enough where it's not burning my face off. This will be pretty good. Who'd have thunk it? Okay. You know, that tuna flavor almost gets completely absorbed by the soup. That's pretty amazing. That it does give it that meat you're looking for, or at least I'm looking for, in a bowl of soup. That's pretty decent. It's almost like having chicken in there, to be fair, because the tuna flavor is so mild, and it's just overpowered by all the vegetable flavor. In here, it's just like having chicken in your minestrone. I was expecting there to be some noodles in here, with it being a minestrone. Maybe that's an American thing, but as far as I can remember, now I'm not a soup guy, so don't blast me in the comments section if minestrone doesn't normally have noodles in it, but from what I can remember, minestrone normally has noodles. All that said, this is a really good soup. I love it with the cracker bits in there. It's great. Yeah, I wasn't that hungry. Well, this is making me want to eat this. It's really good. You know the tuna is good, and it's got to go well with this soup. If I am taking tuna and intentionally adding it because it improves the flavor of the soup, so that's some pretty good tuna. Very mild, not really fishy or stanky, which is great. Absolutely great. I think even if you were a seafood person, you'd appreciate this tuna. It seems to be very high quality. Now, I'm no fish expert, obviously, but in my experience, the higher quality tuna just has more of a meaty flavor and less of a stanky fish flavor. And that certainly has zero stanky fish flavor, which is absolutely excellent for me. This ration was a total win. Worth every one of the dollars I paid for it. If you're able to get your hands on one of these Italian rations out in the wild, I absolutely recommend it. This stuff's great. Depending on storage conditions, you could get lucky like I did. Get one that was apparently stored very well and get a great ration and have a great time with it. Just like I'm doing. This is pretty awesome. You definitely want to bring your own silverware though, because the silverware that comes with this sucks. I'm definitely starting to fill up on that. Let's get a bite of this fruit bar. Hopefully this survived. And I checked again, and it does not list what fruit is in here. It's just a fruit and grain bar, but we're going to give it a shot. You know, for a bar that's almost 5 years out of date, it's still very soft. It tastes a tiny bit stale, but not crazy stale. And it's certainly not gone bad or gone rancid. Whatever oils or stabilizers they put in this bar did a really good job. It's only very mildly sweet, like just a tiny bit sweet. It is very good though. Maybe it's a process of time, but the grain in this is very soft. It just kind of turns into like a paste, like a mush, but it's really good. I am going to kick it up a bit and put some of this sweetened condensed on there and see if that just really makes this thing pop. That is absolutely the way to do it. The sweetened condensed sweetens this thing up. Obviously gives it a sweet and creamy flavor, but the addition of the sugar really brings the fruit flavor out in this thing. The main fruit that I'm tasting this is apricots, which is pretty amazing because I love apricots, and this has a very strong apricot flavor. It's absolutely great with this sweet and condensed. And the rest of that fruit bar needs a healthy bit of sweet and condensed. That is the way to do it. And I still have some left over just to suck straight out of the tube because I like sweet and condensed like that. But this bar with the sweet and condensed on it is absolutely great. This is kind of decadent. It's amazing. Well, as you can see, Dinner was actually pretty good. I'm really happy with that. It was a good meal. I'm very full. You know, the protein content from that tuna certainly helped out. That was a nice big 350 gram portion of soup. That's really good food and very hydrating. So before we end the video, we will check out our dental hygiene products here. Oh, god damn it. I told you guys, I'm just incapable of doing a video without dropping things multiple times in places I don't want them to land. Like, it just completely incapable of it. It's just a relatively medium to hard bristle toothbrush. Kind of strong. Probably could have just given you one of these, but it's awesome that they give you one for each meal. Obviously, I did not use them, but I'm going to, just for fun. That's excellent. Another toothpaste tube that has that little cap over the end to keep anything from drying out, which is awesome. I love items like this in a ration, regardless of whether it's food or something like this. It just makes it last a whole lot longer. And that smells very minty, and I just literally touched it to the end of my nose. So now I've got toothpaste chilling on the end of my nose. That's amazeballs. So we've got some water over here. We're totally going to brush our teeth on camera. Well, not really on camera, but, you know, you're going to hang out with me. I'll probably fast forward this section, but, you know, let's check out this toothpaste, guys. Let's practice some oral hygiene. If you don't, I highly recommend it. And if you care, that's pretty decent toothpaste. It has a very strong peppermint flavor. I was expecting mint just because of the green leaf on there, but it's very much more like peppermint. And that's okay, just simply because you get toothbrushes and toothpaste. Toothbrush was kind of crappy. Like, you really have to work at it to like completely clean the surface of your teeth. But you know, you get something to brush your teeth with, which is pretty amazing. It's going to screw up my coffee though, but it is what it is. I'll tell you what, just because it's fun, I'm going to have my punishment, F-U-N, like punishment for the ration. I'm going to, with the minty breath, I'm going to have one of these vitamins. Why? I just don't know. God. And it's just as hideous as it was at lunchtime. Those things are so bad. I mean, if you could swallow that tablet, it would have been way better. Chewing it's pretty nasty. Just because I thought it was so freaking hysterical, honestly. We're going to have a couple more of these just because I don't know why, because I'm just not going to ever experience these again. So we're going to get them in there. So bad. I mean, it's not like puke it out of your mouth bad or spit it out bad, but it's so nasty. Like, those are just hateful. Thank you guys for joining me here on one of the OG rations I've always wanted to review. This 24-hour Italian ration had a little bit of issues for me in the way that it was assembled, but that's really it. Just kind of dumb stuff, like more salt, some pepper, a cold drink mix. Otherwise, this was a great ration. I mean, I wasn't exactly happy with the lunch item, but you can't love everything. This, however, was a great ration. It's definitely going to fill you up if you enjoy having a very light breakfast. It'll certainly keep you full throughout the day, provide you with enough energy to do what you need to do. And a lot of it is really good, which is amazing considering this thing is almost 5 years out of date. So I gotta say, I'm really happy that I got this one. I'm even happier that you guys decided to come here and share it with me. So that's absolutely bitchin'. Thank you much for joining me. If you appreciate what I'm doing with the channel, you know what time it is. It's time to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. Talk to me in the chat. That is always excellent. Well, mostly excellent. Some people are tool bags. Thank you guys for joining me here on Ration Nerd. I'll come back at you next time with something cool. Until then, eat 'em up.